Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mqondisi Mkhaliphi for another episode of Magnificent Show. It's a Sunday. It's back from church and somewhere chilling. And yeah, I hope you had a good Sunday. Today I'm not alone. I'm with the president of Arise Black Child, which is the mother body of which is the mother actually of the Black Magnificent Show. Nida, can you greet everyone?
Humble greetings to everyone. I'm very excited and looking forward to this engagement, my leader. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, leadership. We are very lucky, guys. On the Sunday, we are hosting the president himself of the Arise Black Child, which is the mother body, as I've mentioned before. So today we are going to have a show reflecting on ABC, because some of the people may know a Black Magnificent Show, some may know African Reflection Day, some may know Black Education Masterclass, and there's a lot other structures that are under the mother body, which is ABC. So we are going to go through on what is ABC actually, and what does it offer, and so far what has it done in the year 2021. And luckily we are having the visionary, the founder, the president of APC, who's going to take us through leadership. We can start by breaking it down for the people who are not aware of what is APC, and they will understand.
Leadership, thank you so much. I think that is a very great place to start, because like you said, there are people who may be aware of this program or that program. So it's important for us to show everyone where these programs come from and how they are actually knit together to accomplish a common vision. So Arise Child is a broad-based Black radical movement that seeks to reform the minds of Black people and transform their existential reality. After more than 400 years of being invaded, of being oppressed, plundered, and mass murdered by our race enemies, we have become a very cognitively damaged people. The effects of colonialism as well as apartheid have really extended and surpassed external material conditions. It has also fragmented and broken us from within. Our minds as Black people are in a state of paralysis. We are sickly. We are as sickly psychologically. It's because we have been hacked by the virus of global white terrorism and anti-Blackness, which has gone to crash our cultural system. And the false narrative of Black people being an inferior race has eaten into our identity, our pride, and self-love. We have become a dismembered and a disfigured people. Therefore, Arise Black Child envisions a psychologically emancipated and socio-economically empowered Black nation that is, number one, united as well as proud of its cultural heritage. So we aim to re-engineer the mind of a Black child so that he can have a reinvented awareness. Because it's very important to note that we can speak of political and economical revolutions, but the starting point has to be psychological, because without psychological emancipation, economic and political revolutions will only bring us more catastrophe and more disaster, because we are not psychologically prepared and equipped to handle it. So the starting point has to be psychological. Steve Biko said something very powerful and enduring when he said the most powerful weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So before we can talk about all other forms of revolution, which is social, political, economical, we have to free the mind of a Black child, which is what main aim and our main objective is. But leader, allow me to also share some of our objectives that inform our program, that inform the things that we do, so that it all makes sense and people can also see the source as well as the context that derives the programs that we have. So, words or the letters ARISE as an acronym to come up with objectives of the organization. So for each letter, we've come up with 2 objectives. So all the objectives for A will start with the letters A, R, and so on. So for the letter A, the 2 objectives are to abolish miseducation that perpetuates psychological incarceration as well as distorts Black history. So that's the first A. The next A is to advocate for the unification of African people and to address social ills that perpetuate division and destruction of Black societies. Then we move to the letter R. 2 objectives there. The first R is to redeem the essence of Black consciousness and to combat inferiority complexes which are sustained by Black people. The second R is to revive dreams and aspirations of African youth and provide mentorship opportunities. Moving on to the letter I, 1 is to involve other institutions through strategic relations which can assist by providing business grants, sponsorships, and other resources to aid the achievement of a Black cause. The other I is to initiate psychological and economic emancipation-driven programs. Moving on to S, support initiatives undertaken by Black formations which intend to transform Black communities and uplift township economies. The second S is to support land and legal reform, as well as the decolonization of legal statutes that strengthen institutions established for marginalization of Black persons. And then lastly, the letter E is to extinguish injustice and prejudicial practices which are intended to marginalize Black persons. And the last E is to endow members and fellow Black communities with support in matters of interest. So that is our objectives. That is what we aim to achieve so that we accomplish ultimately our vision. And then later, if you allow me just to also share the roadmap that we are going to use, or that we are using to unfold our vision.
No, the stage is
Because
yours.
thank you very much, Lead. Because two questions are very important. If we are saying arise, we need to be able to answer, from what is the black child rising from? What is the black child rising from? One. And two, how do we know when the black child has risen? Very important. So we have come with a roadmap that is going to guide us and is going to assist us with qualitative and quantitative measurements of really tracking how progressive we are in achieving or accomplishing has been affected by historical and present injustices in a manner shifted our psychological disposition. And what we have done, Lita, we have broken, we have broken it down into different categories. In the Black community, people's psychological dispositions are not grouped in one category. They can be put in different categories, because although we are all rising, we are not necessarily rising from the same place. We're from different levels, but we all need to rise.
All of us.
We have come up with the following categories, just to know the kind of psychological dispositions we are dealing with at different levels. So the first group of the black child that needs to rise are the oblivious group, or the oblivious category. And these are the people, later, who are unaware of the direct effects of injustices. Although they experience these effects, they have not examined why. So they can see they are living in poverty. They can see all the calamities and the catastrophes that they are faced with, but they don't necessarily understand why they are in the situation that they are in, or they've not taken study and to analyze and really get the context that informs their reality as they are. So this is the oblivious group. We can even say, they are an ignorant group, because they don't know why they are where they are. We then later have the next category, which is the misguided category, or the guilty category. And these are the people who think they are to blame for their own underachievement and never see them as a direct result of injustices. And such a group, my leader, where they constantly put blame on themselves of why they are in the situation that they are in. And you will also find other black people who have made it through the grid of, social standards, who will also come back and tell them that they are not working hard enough. So these are the that constantly, inflict blame on themselves of why they are in the situation that they are in. And they blame themselves without really understanding the context that informs their reality. Not just context, the design that has made them to be where they are, but also to keep them where they are. Because it's important to understand that the system of white terror, of imperialism, of neocolonialism has not ended. It is a continuous project where black people, are continuously put in a place where they either blame themselves for their experiences, or, the system as it is points fingers at them, calling them criminals, calling them, all sorts of labels, forgetting that it is this very system that has created them to be the way that they are. Without getting too excited, my leader, let me move on. So we have another category, which is the hopeless people. And these are the people who are aware of the injustices, but do not think they have enough, enough power enough in their power to change the situation. So they don't think they have what it takes. They don't think they have the capacity to change their situation. And these are people who have tried. These are people who have probably started a business here. These are people who have tried to go to school. These are the people who have tried to do something to change their reality, but it just doesn't work out. And they have, become a whole people who have just given in, and they even say,
they're just tired.
Bakatele, and you'll even hear them saying, "Kusizana." What does it mean? And this is a dangerous place to be in, because one then gives themselves into all sorts of unhealthy behavior that just goes to ruin the potential that they have. And then later, the next category, these are the unconcerned people. These are the people who try us on fixing their own lives and not care much about collective struggles and battles. So these are people, they are aware that, there is an issue, but they are just concerned about making sure that their lives, progress. These are people who do not care about umakhelwane and how to empower umakhelwane. They are not concerned about lifting as they rise. As long as they can be empowered, as long as they can come out of the location, as long as they can be, at a certain place. And obviously, if this is your disposition, you will then look down on the others, because really you care, So these are people who are not concerned. Later, we then move on to a defeated people. That's the next category. And these are the people who have completely surrendered to white supremacy and will always see the white man as their master. So this group of people are different from the hopeless, because the hopeless have been trying, and they just don't think they have what it takes. But these ones, they've completely surrendered. They lift up their hands and say, "White men, we need you. White men, we are nothing without you."
They are bowing, these ones.
They are bowing to whiteness. And do have such people in our communities and in our society. These are the kind of people that even when you start a business, they will want to know, is there a white person or white people in it? Because
go to an extent, leader, when a white man comes in a line while they're in a supermarket, they let them through before them. So I know exactly.
Do that they will swear at you. Try to jump into that line, they will swear at you. They see a white man, they want to revere and to worship a white man. For the white man who has caused them to be in the position that they are in. So we do have this is the group of Black people that have achieved some success, and they think those who are struggling don't work hard enough. They don't see white supremacy as a problem. In fact, they are okay with it, because to some degree, it is the one that has gotten them to where they are. And we forget later that this is also another system that is used by white supremacists to advance a few Black people, to get a few Black people up the grid, so that it looks like hope. And they give a false sense of hope. And this goes back to, the point I've already made before. Others will now start feeling bad about themselves and blaming themselves, because if those Black people could make it, why can't I make it? Do you see how these coherent with one another? So leadership, these are the groups that we've identified, and the system that we have to approach this and really to start unfolding the vision, like I said. So the second phase would be to seek and to verify all the assumptions and discoverings and more realities about the psychological disposition of Black people. And the aim is to get the realities on the ground with accuracies. So obviously we can't just, from a theoretical point of view, assume that these are the issues. We would have to go to the ground and really test if there are by groundwork and ethnographic research that seeks to bring out, present realities. And this is why we host things like the Blacknificent show, my leader. It is all to bring out all these present and to hear from different people, what their realities are. And this also guides us and also helps us to see and to test and verify the groups that we've already made mention of. And then following that, we then develop a clear understanding of where we are as Black people as far as our hope for the future is concerned. And according to the issues verified and identified, dedicated programs are then designed according to the realities and needs on the ground. So this is what informs our programs. We don't just thumbsuck program. You can't just thumbsuck a program and say these people need this program without having started, without having verified that indeed the program will speak to a specific need on the ground. And then let me just wrap up this particular point. So for us to track progress as far as this is concerned, because since we cannot measure quantitatively the impact of psychologically emancipating programs, we need to look for certain qualities in a specific group of people previously engaged with. So we made mention of the oblivious, the misguided, the hopeless, the unconcerned, the defeated, and the upper class. So these are the questions we ask ourselves to see whether we have had impact in unfolding our vision through our objectives that inform our programs. Number one, the oblivious group. Once we've done what we have done, we need to be able to ask ourselves, are these people more aware of the cause of their struggles and their true history? Because these are people who were previously unaware. So this is how we must track progress. Are they now aware of their struggles and their true history? Number two, the misguided people. Does this group of people understand how historic injustices have affected their present circumstances? The hopeless group, are more people more motivated to reach their full potential? Are we able to capacitate people not only through inspiring, but also capacity building and giving them skills? Are they now in a position where they are more encouraged and more motivated to reach their potential? The unconcerned, have we encouraged sympathy and unity through our programs? Have we been able to encourage sympathy by making people understand the collective struggle, and for people not just to be concerned about their own progress and the unity of Black people, which speaks directly to our vision? For the defeated people, do these people now understand the power that comes with being Black and are willing to stand and fight? Are they now in a place where they are ready to fight and take on this beast, this monster of white supremacy? And lastly, leader, the upper class, are more successful people willing to come down and help in problems that may not necessarily affect them, which is one of the things that we aim to do. We aim to bridge the gap from the more affluent people and the people who are still faced with poverty. And we need to be able to bridge that gap so that the sympathy and the upper class are willing to assist, not just from a donation point of view, let me give you groceries here and there, but with an understanding that we are one and we all need to rise as a collective. Later, let me pause there as far as that is concerned, because I feel like I'm bombarding our people now.
It's a lot to take in, but Later, there's no person who's left out of the list. Everyone is involved now, so that they know what you just need to know which parts are you, and how can we improve you as APC, and which programs to engage in. So yeah. Now I agree with you, leader. We are very sick. We are very sick, and it's very bad if we have some people who are not aware. Actually, many people who are not aware that we are sick, and hey, it's a problem. It's a problem. But
Yeah.
the show today is about the programs, the reflection on the year 2021. We track the progress and everything. So we're gonna start with Africa Friday reflection, which is one thing which he works on weekly basis, also which gives us a reflection of the current affairs, and yeah, can you take us through its leadership?
Leadership, gladly. So this is a program where we release publications on a weekly basis. So as the name suggests, we do it every Friday. And the intention here is for us to reflect on our existential reality. We need to be mindful, leader, that in the neo-colonial dispensation, the imperial agenda reinforces itself through miseducation and propaganda to debase our consciousness and ultimately to weaken our will to continue the struggle for liberation. So our consciousness is invaded on a daily basis through anti-Black and Eurocentric epistemology and philosophy that dislocates us from an Afrocentric center that informs our thinking, perception, and behavior. And this happens through the television that we watch, through the program we watch, through the education system that we go through. All of these things are aimed at debasing our consciousness so that we don't think from an African center, so that we are constantly bombarded with Eurocentric epistemology. So there is a clear agenda to ensure that we are not independent thinkers who ultimately free themselves from foreign domination in all its forms and manifestations and become the master of our own destiny. So, leader, to counter this agenda, it is important to make attempts that will extricate Black minds from the claws of our race enemies, and obviously to inculcate an Afrocentric paradigm to inform their pattern of thinking and doing. And that is why we have come up with the Africa Friday reflection. So it aims to do the following. It aims to center Black people's minds in Afrocentricity, in African thinking, obviously with the awareness that we are in a world of whiteness that constantly bombards whiteness on us. So this platform is to center our Africanness, our African-centeredness, and for us to think from an African plane as opposed to a Eurocentric one. It also aims to nudge Black people to think beyond the massive, mind-numbing headlines. Unfortunately, leader, there are most of us who rely on television, on media. We even run with things that are said on media without interrogating and without even studying, who is behind it and whose interests and agenda these news have. You understand me? So we have created this platform so that we can nudge people to think beyond, the headlines, the mind-numbing headlines that we constantly see on mass media. Also, it is to inspire Black people to think deeply and critically about the social, the political, and the economic climate in the country, continent, and the world at large. So literally, this publication is a tool also to conscientize. We must use every opportunity to conscientize. Kwame Ture, the the job of the conscious is to make the unconscious conscious. And so we do this with all of our programs. Each program may have a specific aim, but we use every program to dispense consciousness, Black consciousness. It is also to open Black people's eyes to the global anti-Black racist agenda that manifests itself in various forms and levels. And lastly, leader, it is to empower Black people with knowledge and pragmatic solutions to challenge the status quo. And leader, I'm very happy to pronounce that we have had a very good year as far as this program is concerned. We have been able to publish every week without fail. And I must take the opportunity to really applaud the team that is involved with this program. And I actually want to mention them by name. So Ribauni Tsatsinyani is the one who heads this program. She's the one who makes sure that, we publish. She's the one who edits. She's the one who ensures that the ball keeps rolling. Working with Itumeleng Minyato, working with Africa Taba, as well as Tieho Nokoro. So these are the people who are making sure that the Africa Friday Reflection program continues. And I must commend the excellence, I must commend the dedication as well as the commitment of these leaders. I must say, leader, they have kept me glued and they've kept me intrigued and looking forward on what they are going to write about next. And they have written about, a vast spectrum of things. They've raised consciousness, they've informed, they've taken us back to, our African indigenous systems, teaching us about, chemetic systems. They've really done a lot of great work. And what I love about them is how diversified they are. They all have a different writing skill. They don't write the same. Each of them has their own signature, and that is what makes this program even all the more interesting, because you look forward to the different styles, and you look forward to the different approach, and even the manner in which they present their writings. And so I'm very happy to say that this program has been running smoothly, and we look forward as well to continuing and even reaching greater heights. Soon we will have our own newspaper, the Arise Black Child newspaper, so that we publish, these articles and many other Black successful stories.
No, leader, if I had a crowd here, I would say let's give them a round of hands to the team. No, it's an Africa Reflection Day the leader was addressing us about, which they publish. I think he explained everything and gave us the progress they are giving. So what's good about this, we don't want people who are full of propaganda and they get there on TV or whatever they are getting it. We want people to be informed, people to be conscious, to be aware of the current affairs. And it's one way of achieving it. You know what I like, leader, about ABC? We have the African Friday Reflection, which gives us mostly about the current affairs. But again, we have Black Education Masterclasses, which will take us back later. You can dig more about it. Comrades who are watching, I think you will need to note down in your vocabularies. I'm hearing terms here and very, very, very good terms here. So you can note down, comrades, as he is taking us through on another program which is called the Black Education Masterclass.
My leader, it excites me to talk about this program. So we started this program last year in 2020. And in collaboration with Ebukhosini Solutions, we hosted, our first unprecedented Black Education Masterclass. And it was rooted, leader, on the shattering reality that most Africans don't know their history. beyond the slavery era. And we are talking about a glorious history for that matter.
Yeah.
And this also is by design, because our schools, our universities don't bother to delve into African history. I was listening to something very powerful, I think it was yesterday, where I think the brother Mqondisi. And he was speaking at UJ, and he was saying that he's very displeased with the criteria that they use to gauge the best university in Africa, and all of those things. And he was saying, how can we say a university is the best in Africa, but does not even touch on African history?
Yeah.
What criteria are we using if we call an African university the best university in Africa, but it does not even touch on does not delve into African history? And for me, I think that is the shattering reality that I'm talking about. We don't know our history, leader. I'm telling you now, we don't know our history. Or let me say, most don't know our history. And some of us, when we think about Black history, we just think about slavery. That's where it starts for us. We forget the thousands of years that precede slavery, or even that culminated into the slavery. You understand? So the agonizing truth, leader, again, is that Black history has been deliberately wiped off, even the schooling system, and to an extensive degree, it has also been distorted. I think I've already touched on this.
Yeah.
So, leader, to respond to this conundrum, to respond to this problem, this crisis, the Black Education Masterclass was then conceptualized, and it was hosted, like I said, by Arise Black Child, and we then partnered with Ebukhosini Solution. And when we started here, we focused on early African history, the colonization of Africa, recent African history, as well as making Africa great again. And later, the overall outcome was extraordinary. It of people, even if there's 10 to 15 people, I will be happy.
Yeah.
And later, our first session that we hosted had more than 60 people.
Yeah.
It had more than 60 people, and these people were in different parts of the continent as well as in the diaspora. So we had people from South Africa, we had people from Zimbabwe joining us, from Ghana joining us. There were Black people from the UK joining us. I was very overwhelmed, by the response of people to this program. And I must say, this program has since opened a lot of doors, even, for myself as the leader, because it gave me even the chance to engage with other progressive leaders who are pushing the kind of work that we are doing. And I will talk about how I've partnered with some of them for another program, the Arise Black Child and the Mutapa lecture series. This is where we met. We met here at the Black Education Masterclass. So this year, later, we took the masterclass a step further. This year's sessions were geared to inculcate an Afrocentric awareness and paradigm to deal with our existential reality as Black people, and more so to equip us with the tactics, to continue with the fight for liberation and the neo-colonial dispensation. Because later we need to go past the talk that, what is government doing? What is everyone doing? we then need to ask ourselves, what are we doing? And I think this has been the burden of this year's Black Education Masterclass. We have burdened people with the question, what are you doing to change your reality and to change the reality of Black people? And really, later, we have been empowered, we have been equipped with so much, not just information, but pragmatic solutions to deal with our reality as Black people. And I must also commend the task team that was involved with this particular project, Sister Shina, as well as Brother Maikano. I worked very closely with them to ensure that this program ran smoothly this year. And like I said, we took it to another level. Brother Maikano, took care of the technical side of things. He made sure we had beautiful posters and marketing material. We had videos. We had, later it was on another level. And also, care of the administrational side of things. She's the one who called lecturers, who briefed lecturers, who made sure that they are clued up on their expectations or what is expected from them. And all of that. So they really made sure, and they also assisted with the facilitation as well of the sessions. And later, just to give an idea of what these sessions entailed. So this year we had 3 levels. The first level, we dealt with the rebirth of Africa towards a paradigm of liberation. Level 2, we dealt with understanding Africa's challenges. And we answered the question, why are we where we are now? Because I said earlier as well, a lot of us don't understand why we find ourselves in the position that we are in. So in this level, we gave context that gave rise to the issues and the challenges that we are faced with as an African people. And towards level 3, we moved more towards a solution-oriented discussion. Because here we were talking about rebuilding Africa's wealth, a plan for African-centered holistic economy. And I must say it was a powerful, powerful program, because here we were not just making people conscious and aware of the problems, but we were literally empowering them and equipping them with solutions. And so I'm very happy again to pronounce that we had an amazing, a sterling, mind-shifting Black Education Masterclass this year. And I must take the opportunity again to thank everyone who was involved, to thank all the participants who were involved. And we look forward again to getting this even to greater heights. We are already talking about building a school, leader. We are already having those discussions. We have to move. We are already talking about building an Afrocentric school that will focus mainly, on an Afrocentric curriculum. So yes, my leader, that is the Black Education Masterclass.
Thank you. We have another program, leader, and this one is a good initiative. It's groundwork, which is addiction, and which is ruining a lot of communities and destroying a lot of people. But ABC has come up with a solution, and they have started a program which says defeat the addiction. Can you take us through that one, leader?
Gladly, my leader. So, leader, we became aware that it's not enough to just teach, and it's not enough to just raise awareness. We also need to get to the ground and get our hands dirty. So this program, leader, we are more concerned about getting to the ground, because as you've noticed, most of our programs have a lot to do with conscientizing, raising awareness, equipping, empowering. But in this one, it's more practical, So the is a program, leader, that is aiming to fight the addiction of drugs in the hood by not only taking addicts to rehab, but by also having programs that helps people to fight the drug while they see it every day.
Yeah.
So we are avoiding taking them away from the problem. And then, because what we've seen most of the time is when people come back from rehab and they are, taken back into the society from where the drug originated, most cases they jump back to the problem. So we've come up with a program where we're like, let's deal with the problem without running away from the problem.
You train them to face it, lead.
We train them to challenge it and face it head on. So that is really what this program is about. So we want people to be clean without running away from drugs. And we provide weekly meetings for motivation and progress. But also we have partnered with Tumamina program from Tsakani, which organizes jobs for youth. So we can keep our brothers and sisters busy and away from the streets. Because, Lita, I think you know that one of the problems is idling as well, not doing anything. When you find yourself with too much time on your hands and not being actively busy, then the odds and the chances of you going back to the drugs are very high. So we've partnered with a particular program that assists in getting and securing jobs from the people that have gone through the program, so that after the program, we're not just sending them back and say, all right, now you're empowered, go back and see yourself, be strong. No, we also make sure that we keep them constructively busy and we empower them. And it doesn't end there. We still host meetings as well to talk about how difficult it is, because we must not pretend like we're living in heaven now, where people have gone through the program and assume that they no longer have the temptation or the urges. So it's important to continue with the program to also talk about those issues and see what other things can be done to mitigate those temptations to go back to the drug. We also partnered with Anotic Anonymous, which helps us to take people to rehab. They also provide study guides on how to treat and train addicted people. And they also provide food, clothes, toiletries, extra for the needy. And Lita, thus far, 4 members, I'm very happy to announce that 4 members have successfully defeated the addiction. We sit with 4 people that we can proudly say have defeated the addiction. 2 by going to rehab, and the other 2 by quitting the drugs straight without going to rehab. And this is just through programs and the motivation and the things that we give them to keep them busy. We have more than 30 members in our program, and I'm very happy to say that we are making massive progress in that regard. Thank you, my leader.
People mustn't look at 4 as a small number. If people have successfully stopped using, it's a big number, leader, and it's a one hell of a load that you put in there for these people to end up stopping. So this is a good initiative, leader. It's a good initiative. And we move, comrades, we move, and then we have Arise for Her. This one is important because in our generation there are no people whom are oppressed as women, and ABC also has came in with a solution, because ABC is our solution of the generation. Leader, can you take us through Arise for Her?
Yes, my leader. The Arise for Her program is geared to empower and to mentor young women and see to it that their basic needs are met. Leader, our focus since we started has mainly been making sure that their sanitary needs are met. I think, again, we can't just go to a people and expect to just talk to them and be oblivious to their struggles. If people are going to listen to you, they also want to know what are you going to do for them to change their existential reality. So leader, here we've committed ourselves to assist young ladies to ensure that their sanitary needs are met. We know that ladies need on a monthly basis, they need, sanitary towels. So we see to it, these are covered because leader, as much as there are programs that do this out there, we must be mindful that this is a great issue which needs actually all of our attention. And it's also not something you can just do once and think you've accomplished your mission. It is an ongoing program, So we have identified young ladies leader in the township of Langaville, about 20 of girls that we've identified, young girls. And on a quarterly basis, there's a delegation, a team that goes there and ensures that these girls' sanitary needs are met, like I said. But it doesn't end there as well, of course. We can't just drop things and leave them, So we engage with these leaders. We ensure that we empower them, and we ensure that we conscientize them as well, because every program must be used as a tool to conscientize and to dispense Black consciousness and ultimately to get the Black child to arise. So leader, here I want to specifically name two people that are heavily involved with this program and ensure that this program runs. Uspiwe, which is our Chief Financial Officer, is heavily involved in the program. And then my lovely wife, Lita, is also involved in the program. And Lita, we have plans as well to, to make sure that we take this to another level as well, which includes, looking into their academic endeavors and empowering them with skills as well.
No, it's clear, leader, but there was a bit of network glitching there and there, but I think we get it. Yeah, leader, we have the last program, the program that we are in currently, the Blacknificent show, and this is where I'm in also. It's been a year, leader. It's been a year, but I'll let the president take us through the Blacknificent show, and he will go through it.
Lita, I'm very excited. I was actually a bit emotional. I think it was last week when Kosnati brought it to my attention that it's been a year since we have started with this program. Lita, we must not take such milestones for granted. Keeping something going full year, especially something that runs on a weekly basis, is not a child's play. It needs a lot of commitment. It needs a lot of dedication. It needs a lot of discipline. Mindful of the fact that the people who are running the show as well, it's not like they just live for the Blacknificent show. They have lives that they need to be busy. So I was just emotional and taken aback by the fact that we have a team that ensures that every week we have a show, and this is where I have to thank people like yourself, leader, which make sure that this show runs as powerfully as it does. I think this has become one of our most vibrant programs. It has a lot of vibrance. It's exciting, and it's really good to see the different kind of Black people that are hosted on a weekly, and getting to hear, their different views and their different experiences. It's really empowering and inspiring, I must say. So later, the Blacknificent show, when it was conceptualized, it was created so that we bring Black people together to speak to issues that affect them in their daily life from all aspects of life. And you know, we intended to not make this just another show, but one that spotlights Black excellence and thoroughly investigates the obstacles that have for many years stood in the way of Black excellence. Many people know the struggles of the past, but present realities are not often looked at exhaustively. And so the show zooms into the struggles of Black people who go through these struggles on a daily basis. But also another point, very important point to make, is that unlike other shows, this one was not meant to provide expert judgment on matters of interest. So we're not concerned with bringing experts, so-called experts, to speak on our duties, but we want to give people themselves, ordinary Black African people, give them a voice and enable them to speak out about uncomfortable realities and share their experiences. So we don't want to bring an expert to speak on everyone's behalf, but we want the people themselves to have a voice and speak about, exactly, leader, speak about their realities. And so the aims here really are to spotlight Black excellence, to bring out hidden struggles of ordinary Black Africans, to build empathy and encourage African unity, to provide Afrocentric solutions to the many problems faced by Black people in their own land, and to give undiluted views about current affairs in Africa and the world without fear or prejudice. So here we are not scared to speak our truth our own way. We are not a news channel that is captured, by I won't say the name, but we are not captured. Therefore, we are not afraid to speak without fear or favor. We are not censored and we are not monitored. There's no one who calls us after the show and say, hey, Brother Mqondisi, why did you make this point? And Brother, why did you make such a point? This is a space where we speak freely, without fear, without prejudice, about our story. We give our version of our story. And that is what that is about. And like I said, leader, big ups to you, big ups to all the people that you work with, Nkosinathi, Kia, Tabo, Tembegile, Udifference, and I know Brother Kamohelo handles the technical side of things as well. So I want to take also this moment on the show itself to appreciate all of you for your dedication, for your diligence, and making sure that the show continues. And like we pointed out, we marked a year since the program started, and that is a great milestone, leader. And even with this program, we must look forward to taking it to greater heights. We must look at having our own studio one day. We must look at having our own channel one day, our own radio station one day, whatever it takes, leader, to make sure that this program reaches its full potential as well. So I know you're not going to clap for yourself, but allow me to be the one to say, everyone, let's take a moment to applaud the team that is behind the Blacknificent show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. Thank you very much. I'll also take this chance and thank the team that we work with. The team is moving, leader. We are working, and thumbs up to the team. Thumbs up. A year is not just a milestone, but it's a very big thing. It's a very big thing. Yeah, leader. So we have I think we have reached the end of of our show tonight, and we have highlighted all the programs that ABC is going through, and to stretch it, leader. I want you to encourage whoever is watching and they have developed interest, because there's no one who mustn't develop interest, because there is no point of interest you didn't touch. You can just be hesitant about joining the show, but I want you to stretch the invitation that if people want to engage, if people want to join ABC, what can we do?
Leader, thank you so much for that opportunity. I want to welcome everyone, every black child. And when we say child, remember, we're not just referring to small children. We are all children of Mama Africa. Africa is our mother, and we are all children, and we all need to rise. I think you may have noticed by the different categories that we touched on that all of us need to arise. And I want to stretch this invitation to everyone. ABC is your home. If you are black, ABC is your home. And we invite you to come and join us. And what I always encourage, leader, with anyone who joins ABC, we don't just want people that will become members. We don't just want people that will become bench warmers. We believe that everyone has a gift, that everyone has a skill, that everyone has in them a tool that we need so that we work together to build the black body together. So we encourage anyone who resonates with our vision and who wants to, join forces with us to say, come, let's build together. Come with a brick. Let me come with cement. Let the other one come with a spade. Let the other one come with whatever tool. But the agenda is to build the black body. And we believe that you also have what it takes to build with us. Gone is the time where we are going to point fingers at government, at society, at everyone who is not doing this and that for us. I think we need to realize and wake up very soon that our destiny will only be reached if we as a people stand up and come together and fight for our own liberation. No one is going to hand over liberation to you and say, here is your freedom. You have to stand up and fight for your own liberation. And if you have not started to embark on that journey, we invite you to say, here is a banner called Arise Black Child, where you can join forces with us, where you can use whatever skill, whatever tool, whatever expertise that you have to ensure that we rise collectively. We are also not a stubborn leadership that does not listen to its people. We are always willing to listen to the ground. We are always willing to listen to ideas of how we can advance our programs, how we can advance our vision. And we are saying, please come through. Let's build together. If you have an edge, reach out to us. We have many platforms in which you can do that. We are there on Facebook as Arise Black Child. We are there on Instagram as Arise_Black_Child. We are there we are there on WhatsApp. You can reach out to us there. So really, you can use any of these mediums. You can even email us at ariseblackchild1@gmail.com. You can visit our website, www.ariseblackchild.com. You can reach out to us using any of those mediums. And like I said, let us come together and build the black body. Thank you, my leader.
President, can you give us the closing remarks and then I close it also?
Leadership, let me close by saying we have a template. We are not just wandering about hopelessly. We have great warrior kings and warrior queens that have walked before us, that have challenged the system of white terror, who have fearlessly stood, and fought for the ongoing project of freedom. And we must be inspired by these people. I think this is one of the programs I didn't get to touch on, but on a weekly basis, we also have what is called an Arise Black Child and Mutapa Afrocentric lecture series, where we zoom into, Black liberation warrior kings and queens and using their lives, as a tool and give us meaning today and draw pragmatic lessons from them so that we continue with the battle. I want to say the following. We all have what it takes. Yes, it may seem overwhelming. It may seem that, it's hopeless what we're doing. There's no light at the tunnel, looking at the various challenges we are confronted with. But like I said, we have references. We can talk about the Haitian Revolution that happened ages ago, where black slaves stood up one day and took charge of their lives and became the masters of their destination. We too have what it takes. All it needs is a vision and people who are ready to embark on that vision. And we are saying, here we are as a Rise Black Child, and I also want to make this point. We are willing to partner with anyone and everyone that shares a common vision with us. So when we say Arise Black Child, we are not trying to monopolize the liberation. We are not trying to monopolize freedom or the emancipation of the Black child. We are just saying we are one of the programs of many great things that are being done by Black people out there. But all I have to say is, let's come together, let's build together. The Black child shall surely rise against all odds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, thank you. It's been a good conversation. It's been a good conversation, good discussion. It's good to have you, leader. It's good to have you. I have learned, besides being informed more about APC, I've also learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Thank you, leader. Thank you, leader. Thank you to everyone who has been watching. If you don't join ABC after this, I don't know what you need more in your life, but you should be inspired that in our lifetime, in our generation, we still have such programs, we still have such leaders, and you can be part of it. You also can play a role in making a Black child arise. Thank you to everyone. Next week, same time, same place. We meet here on another episode of Black Magnificent Show. Thank you.